Well, welcome everybody there. This is the end of the season, end of the playoffs for the Edmonton Oilers there. And no sooner it was done, the Oilers were on the phone and things were starting to shape up. We now know that Ken Holland will not be returning. We know that Jeff Johnson will take over the reins next season. We also know that Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid will be getting end of season surgery. But how much time will they miss? And will this affect Connor McDavid's wedding, or will he postpone it till next year? I don't know. He's supposed to get married this summer, this July. Only time will tell. There's a lot of questions, a lot of things up in the air, and a lot of bubbles as people are just realizing that so much has happened in Edmonton there. Now we dust off, we're bruised, we let it heal, and we will come back to the Stanley Cup final again next year and hopefully hoist Lord Stanley, as the Panthers did it twice in a row, and Edmonton can do it too. They've done it before and they'll do it again. Well, we're gonna know whether or not if Brett Kulak or Cody Cece's gonna return there. I have a hunch that Brett Kulak will return, as he is a native, an Edmonton native. Cody Cece may try and test the market, and he is a $3.5 million, or they may trade him. Jack Campbell. Here's another topic for discussion: is Jack Campbell, who was the biggest bust, didn't turn out the best there. They're going to look at probably buying him out. I think they should wait till next season so that way they've got more money for next season. Um, but definitely changes will occur. Changes are going to happen in Edmonton, whether or not, and maybe for the better. and maybe for the worse. We don't know. Nobody knows. All I know is Leon Draisaitl, the biggest question, and it's the biggest contract. Is he going to get 10 million? Is he going to get 8 million, 9 million? Is he going to take a pay cut like Evander Kane did? Um, but yes, we expected that Kenny Holland would step down. He's a Vernon native, and him and Cindy and the kids, they're probably just gonna head back home there. Matthias Janmark, is he gonna test the market? Free agency on Monday. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but we know one thing: the GM, the fog lifted over the general manager has been lifted as Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers part way Jeff Johnson to take over. That one's lifted. Now let's get down to business about Leon Draisaitl. How much you going to pay him? How much you guys are willing to go the distance to pay Leon Draisaitl? After all, he did play through an injury. I remember 2 years ago there that he played through an injury there, but he decided to cut it short there, and he didn't. So there are so many factors. The one thing that I have to say is that I am proud of the boys because we had a country. We had lots of states behind us. We had so many people that were like a lot of Hollywood artists, stars, you name it. Uh, Unbelievable. Everyone was watching. We had Germany. We had Sweden. We had all of Canada. We had Americans. We even had, you know, politicians. We had politicians there. And the other thing too is to keep in mind is we also had um, we had a great run, and this is something for a lot of young ones like Dylan Holloway, Evan Bouchard, um, Broberg, and some of the ones that had never been there. Like, of course, I know Corey Perry's been there, but even some of the other ones there. So they got the experience there, and I have to say that I'm most happy for the city of Edmonton there for not creating riots. Yes, they pulled out polls because they were pissed off the way the police pushed them, but they didn't cause riots. And I have to say, they went home. Like, apparently, buses were packed, taxi cabs, Ubers, you name it, they were all there. So they didn't cause a riot. Good on you guys. They didn't follow in Vancouver's suit in 2011 when they started smashing up the city. It's a smart, class move. Just the poles, which they can be replaced, which the owners got. Probably he's got spares in the back room there. Um, so we know the GM, Ken Holland. Thank you very much for your service as an Edmonton Oilers GM. You were marvelous. You attracted so many good people there. You brought us some veterans. You were a champion. You didn't hang your head low when the team was low. You stood high. You were a champion in a model and showing some of the people in the organization there, and you kept with your model, and you kept with your saying. So thank you for your service as GM, amazing GM. We had a hell of a ride. Since you were GM, we've made it to the playoffs 3 years in a row. We're going to make it 4 years in a row. Jeff Johnson, I'm curious to see what changes he makes. I'm sure he's going to make some minor tweaks. Um, I don't know who's going to be the special advisor to the GM, but I will say it's probably going to be a player. I have my speculations, but I'm not going to say who that is. And good to see you there, Gutters Pub. So, you know, there's a lot to be proud of. And yes, it's going to be expected. What I think they need to focus on is a defenseman, another Matthias Ekholm defenseman. If we don't look at another big clutch defenseman like Matthias Ekholm, All Star, we're going to be doomed. Vinny Desharnais can test the free agency. Hello, Jackson. Good to see you there. He can test it all he wants there. The other thing too is that he can also because we're looking for better. We're looking to pick it up. We're looking to move on, and we're gonna be back in a much better capacity than anything else there. And I just have to say that hey, so now we need to look at Leon Draisaitl. We're gonna have 3 injuries. How many weeks are we gonna be down? And look, we were down at the beginning. We had 9 losses, and then it was 2-9-1 before Chris Knobloch. Do they sign Chris Knobloch? That's another big question. It's a huge factor because they're still paying off Jay Woodcroft's contract. So there's so much factor for a Jeff Johnson uh, to look at. He's got so much on his plate. I bet you he's going to need a hand there. Then the owner, does he approve of Jeff Johnson taking over, or would he have liked to see Kenny stay on to be a mentor? Nobody knows. I know Florida, when they lost last year to Vegas, they knew the focus was defense. They went after defense, and they got the job done. Okay. Um, This year, this offseason, they need to look at keeping Draisaitl and get a big defense. Skinner's got one more year. Next year is going to be a year that I probably don't even want to know, but they got to get the job the 2024 to 2025 year if they're going to get the Stanley Cup. And I believe that they can. I believe they can. I believe they will, and I believe that they can there. Um, and yeah, the other thing too is don't be discouraged by um, all that's happening because it's only going to get better. So the GM's been solved. Leon Draisaitl wants to be an Oiler. He says there's no other place that he wants to be than Edmonton there. Boston is rumored. They're already pushing. They're trying to talk to his agent, like, hey, go to free agency so we can sign him in Boston there. No, he says he wants to remain an Oiler. He wants to win a cup with Connor McDavid. But with Connor McDavid having multiple injuries there, is his wedding going to happen? There's a lot to be determined. Yeah, he's supposed to get married, and yet he's going to have surgery, and he's going to go all probably limped up or gimped up and go, "Yes, would you marry me?" There, um, the other thing that I look at is the determination. Who pushed this team? Was it the captain? Was it someone on defense? Was somebody mystery? And Corey Perry, do we sign Corey Perry? Do we keep him? He's a good playoff pedigree guy there, do we um, or do we not? I don't know. There are so many questions. There is 16 players that could be free agents. Um, I don't know. There's a lot going into this. This new GM is going to have to make some tough decisions. There's going to be decisions that we don't like, and there's going to be decisions that we love. And who knows, he may pull off a wonder of a trade there. Um, we we can only say that this is a good to move ahead. We need to move ahead. We licked our wounds now for a few days there. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to work. Let's talk to some players. Uh, I'm sure it's definitely gonna haunt the players for a good while there. But once they hit that ice in October, it's gonna be like boom. Let's get at it. Let's get 1 win, 2 win, 3 win. You can get to 60 wins, then you're in the playoffs. Once you make that, then you got to knock down the teams. And we don't know, is Knobloch coming back? Or was he just here just as I mean, does Jeff Johnson have something in mind there? We don't know. Nobody knows. There is a lot of questions to remain. We know that there's a lot of teams who want to talk to Knobloch. but Knobloch likes it here. He's an Edmonton Oiler. He played here. He, he was here for some time. So let him be. Let him make that decision there. Don't put any pressure on it. Um, Thank you to everybody there. Good to see that we got Gutters Pub, we got Jackson, we got Andy Heinrich, and good to see everybody there. But now let's get time to business. Let's get down to the crunch. Let's get the calculator out and let's find out who's staying, who's leaving. I'm going to call this Edmonton Oilers Survivor. Who is going to be voted off the island? We know Kenny Holland is leaving, and that's because his contract ended. We're going to get a new one. Good. Great. Now we get down to the players there. Let's get down to the meat and potatoes as to why we are here. Um, I think that I know the direction that this Jeff Johnson's going to go. I would hope that they would buy out Jack Campbell next year, not this year, so that way we can have 20 million to play with rather than 14 million to play with on top of our 4 or 5 million. So it would make no sense to do that because we can, and some players are going to leave because they want to go to a Stanley Cup, but they're going to realize that Edmonton is the only alternative because they are close. They were there. They smelt it. They just needed that extra goal and they didn't get the job done. But it's not the coach's fault. It's not the GM's fault. The players didn't the players didn't stick together. That's all that matters. That's all that counts. So, um, we can talk about everything all day long for the next 4 or 5 hours. There, the problem with that is that Brett Kulak, he's an Edmonton native. I know there's lots of teams. There's about 3 or 5 teams that are interested in him. There, he could say yes, trade me, Cody Ceci. I think what we need is we need somebody like an Ekholm, an All Star, like a Bouchard, an Ekholm, like Darnell Nurse, like but somebody that can step it up. That's an upgrade to the defense. That is what's missing. And it was inconsistent all through the playoffs. Dallas series it showed. LA series it showed. Vancouver definitely came out there. It was like, wow, what kind of defense showed up here? We didn't know. We didn't know what happened. But questions are going to get answered. I think at this draft, we're going to find out what happens. There is no first round draft pick for the Edmonton Oilers. They gave that up when they got Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick. And that's another one. Can we sign Adam Henrique? Will Connor Brown be back? I mean, there is so many factors. And I think what needs to take place is let's get the draft over with. Let's look at Leon Draisaitl first. The team is built between Connor and Leon. They are that duo pair. It's like Gretzky and Curry. So we need to do. Good to see you there, Ty. So we need to do is we need to look at that. We also need to look at um, in net. Okay, so we need to look at Skinner. Oh, do we trade Stuart Skinner? Is he the man that's going to be in charge, or is he going to be out of a job? There's still a lot to be determined, a lot to be decided in this. It's a very fresh. You've got a bunch of players that need to be signed, and with $14 million, possibly or less. You got to sign. You got to sign and find a way to sign them. Make those tough decisions there. Call some rookies up, or wait for camp. It's not an easy task ahead for Edmonton. This is why they said cup or bust this year. I think this next year when they sign Leon Draisaitl, it is cup or that's it. No, no more All Stars. We know that Zach Hyman, who set all kinds of records that shattered everything there, he literally. was the, I would have to say, great hockey player out there. He shined when when we did that there. Um, and yeah, 50 plus points, lots of goals, 30 plus goals, 40 goals. And he was there. He was the unsung hero in my mind. He was the guy that you could always count on to come out to play and to really shine and come through with you there. When Connor and Leon were shut down, just look at Zach Hyman throughout the season there. It's not the forwards, it's the defense, folks. But here is the defense. It's money. The cap didn't go up a lot. The cap only went up $7 million. So if we add 14 million to that, we can have 21 million to play with. But we got to sign Leon Draisaitl first. What is left? Um, how much are we going to be paying out of pocket there? Who are we going to lose? Then we got to fill the void. Do we go into it with in free agency there and go crazy money? Do we make a bunch of stupid trades that are not needed, that are like literally there? Then the coach, does he stay? Or was this because, well, Ken Holland wanted to win a Stanley Cup, failed to do the job, and didn't get it done? We have, like, there is like a list of things that go on and on and on. I'm glad today to tell you that I am very proud of the team that I support. It was a tough loss. It really was. I mean, look, if there was people who lost money, people in Vegas who lost houses, businesses, their jobs. They put their jobs on the line. But I'm proud to say that we did not riot in the city of Edmonton there. This is what we have to be proud about, is the city of Edmonton. They, yes, they took out the poles that were in front of the arena, but it was because the stupid police there were filing through the damn thing, and people were like upset there because you're shoving people through this little tiny little line up here. It's a little tiny little thing there. So yeah, but they did not go bashing windows. They did not do anything to the city there. They just dissipate, went, and they took the transportation home, whether if it was a car or anything like that, or went to the bar. So I'm proud to say that Edmontonians doesn't riot. I am proud to say we didn't do that in 2006. We didn't do that in 2024. And next year, we hope that we can win the Stanley Cup, and we don't have to do this next year. We can actually be very happy and celebrate there. We not like Vancouver or or Toronto, where they get really mad very easily. This is the thing. We're going into Brett Kulak, Cody Ceci. Who's going to be traded? Who's going? Who's leaving? Who's staying? Who's packing? Who's got the U-Haul truck outside? They're picking it up tomorrow, and what's happening? We don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, we're all at a loss here. All I can say is I'm glad we now have a GM. We have one who knew the system, who can attract big players. He did. He attracted Corey Perry, Evander Kane. Um, there's a lot more players there. I can't think of Sam Gagne. Anyways, enough of that being said. Draft starts this weekend. I think today or tomorrow. Draft will happen at the Sphere in Vegas. Then we have to see about free agency, and then we will see whether or not about Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Evander Kane, how many weeks they will be out. Thank you for joining me. This is the end of the season playoffs. The players have concluded. They did their interviews yesterday. They were shocked. They were hurt. They had darts like pretty much in their heart, basically. There, it was a very emotional uh 2 hours to watch for me. Um, they really thought they had the Stanley Cup in the bag. They really thought that they had the Stanley Cup in the bag. They didn't expect this. Bob Bobrovsky got what he wanted. They pretty much he was great. And if they'd have gotten the one goal, it would have lifted the team's spirits and they would have. But we have something to build off of, folks. We have a great platform. We have matured, not only as a team, but we also as Edmonton and as a city to be proud of, full of fans. People all around the NHL are looking at Edmonton as this like, wow, why did Vancouver riot? Why did Toronto riot? Why did Montreal riot? Well, it's because we're the city of champions. When you lose, you lose. You take that tough pill that you don't want to swallow, and you have to just, with a grain of salt, and just like, okay, it's fine. You know what? We know what we need to do. We got to get the job done. We didn't nail that nail in all the way. It only went in half the way, not fully, not how we anticipated. It was just about there. We had 15 wins. We needed 16. They got to 16 before they did, so that's why they hoisted Lord Stanley. They took it all over Florida. They did everything. Actually, even Florida was even immature enough to take the Stanley Cup right to the Oilers dressing room there, and we're singing the Steam song "Na Na 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 Hey Hey Goodbye" right afterwards. So it just goes to show you the immaturity that Florida has. There's lots of it, believe me. They even were outside with the Stanley Cup there. Um, So we had to look at where Edmonton was like, yeah, we lost, you know what? And they cried and everything like that. But you know what? As Connor said, we're going to come back. We're going to be back. It's going to be a big mountain, but hey, let's start digging out the hole. Let's get to business. Let's get down. Let's make some necessary changes, maybe some tweaks to help the team, keep some players, do whatever that's needed. And, I'm also proud that we we handled it. We came back home and we had our end of the season. Most Some of them do, some of them don't. A lot of them do. But it depends upon that. Um, and you know what? They're gonna learn. They're gonna grow on this. This is great for all the young people. There was a lot of young one on the Edmonton Oilers. There's a lot of names. And they're gonna learn from this, and they're gonna be like, we were this close in hoisting Lord Stanley. We were so close. We didn't get the job done. They're gonna want to go back. They're gonna be eager. Evan Bouchard said it the best. You know what? We all can't be champions. One's got to win. One's got to lose. Were on that side. Next year, let's try and flip that coin and let's let us be the winners and them be the losers. They shattered all kinds of records. They doubted a lot. Everyone was against Edmonton. No, no, no. They're not Stanley Cup contenders at all. Not even close. They're gone after Vancouver. They're not going to get by Dallas. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. But you know what? Who would have ever thought that they would literally keep all those sports announcers and they would shock them all, blow off their panties and underwear, and go to the Stanley Cup and tie. It's a record. And tie it up at 3-3 going into game seven there. That hasn't happened since the 1940s. 1945 hadn't won a game seven coming back 3-0 in a series since 1944. 1945 was when they tied it. That's a long time ago. There's so much to be grateful. Let's build off of it. Let's pick up our sticks. Let's pick up our gloves. Everything. Pack it up. Let's see what happens. There's going to be more questions, more answers. I want to say thank you very much. The season starts in October. I wait for the schedule, and I will do more game commentary. I want to say to each and every single person, each and every Oiler fan, even if you're not an Oiler fan who was here for the playoffs there, thank you for sticking along this winding road. It was a twisty, winding road. You never knew which way it was going to go. It was not this straight, easy road where you just go straight up. It was very, very, you know, and that's what the playoffs is all about. It throws curves. It throws curve balls. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. Until then, have a great rest of your summer. We'll see you back here in October. And one thing to keep in mind, if you are an Oilers fan, you got a lot to be proud of. Your city didn't riot. Your team, they stuck with it. They said cup or bust. It was bust. Next year, we hope that it'll be cup. Have a great one. Bye, everybody. And thank you for joining me for the ride. And we will see you in October for game one, home opener between the Oilers and an opponent. We don't know yet. Schedule will be released soon. Stay tuned, watch the news, and one thing to keep in mind if you're an Oilers fan, go Oilers, go!